What is going on, everybody? It is your boy Zary, and before we get into the video, I just want to remind everybody, if you're under level 15 and you want $10 worth of free stuff, go to your settings, go to use promo code, and type in XMGGift. You do that, you'll get $10 worth of free stuff. It helps support the channel. So if you're under level 15, make sure you're using that promo code XMGGift. Enjoy the video. What is happening, my YouTube family? Zary here tonight, and we are going to go over the patch notes that dropped about 7 hours ago, and we're going to talk about them. I have not read them more than I saw the 2 pictures of the new champions. We got a new test server build, so when it comes time to actually read about the kits, we're going to jump right over to the test server and read their move kits there. So that should be interesting. We can check out character models. Just remember, everything you see is test server footage. I have not played them yet. We will be unlocking them for the first time together. So we are going to jump into it. I know a lot of people like when I break down the patch notes, and what I really want to do is I want to start thinking about some theory crafting with these characters, so we can kind of figure that out as well. Should be a good time. So it says, hello champions, in the second update of March, we are adding extra points for wins on the second and third attempts of Battlegrounds, fixing some nasty bugs, introducing new heroes to the game, and anticipating Easter that will bring a lot of activities to take part in, and lots of awesome prizes to win. Happy egg hunting. So we are getting patch 1.4.55, and we're seeing the new characters coming into the game. And if you follow Lizard Breath's channel on YouTube, which you should, you can see these characters sneak peeked in before the patch notes come around. And I'm going to talk about, before we get into like the character kits, we're going to read through this, talk about what I'm thinking, and talk a little bit about what's going on there. General, there's a new hero, Saboteur, clans, orc healer, available from Easter activities. So I'm thinking this is a lot like Rowley. Rowley was available as the reward. Now we got another one coming up. We don't know when that is going to be, right? The Easter event. Easter is this weekend. So man, we just blew through everything we had kind of hoarded up. So another one coming. I do like those quite a bit, and I'll just be shooting for the unlock on this one and hoping for the best. New hero, Naya. She is an order human and a warrior, available from the season of Sun, starting April 1st. So we know we're going to get this patch before Thursday. So my impression is that it's probably going to drop on Wednesday, and nothing really official on that, just me taking a stab in the dark, but they'll probably launch it so you can update your phones, and then when the server reset comes Wednesday night, the new battle pass will roll out. That's kind of probably what I'm assuming. And then Easter is coming to Korador. Take part in competitive and special events, tournaments, and Easter coins to spend them on epic items and hero stones in the special Easter shop. Alright, so this, like I thought, we had the tournament, and I hope they take some of the feedback they got from the last 2 and kind of roll it into this. Like I said, I'd really love to see that final reward, chest reward, unlock the character for everybody at 1 star. So if you fought all the way to get to that last chest, because it's not as easy for some people as it is for others, and that would be really cool if you at least got them to the 1 star unlock. And people say they'd like to see this, a lot of the common feedback I was seeing from the last video is people wish it ran just a little bit longer. I'm actually okay with the amount of time they give you, but I also spend a little bit, so take that into consideration as you will. The battleground changes. Balance changes, and it seems like they're working on balance changes to battlegrounds and tournaments almost every single patch. And a lot of people, oh, my matchmaking's bad. I really haven't experienced much of the bad matchmaking as some people have, and I've seen photos, so I know it happens. But it just goes to show that they're trying to fix it. matchmaking isn't as easy as this, and this. So they're working on it. They're constantly trying to change it. So, okay. And in Battlegrounds, you will now get 15 points for winning on the second attempt and 10 points for winning on the third attempt. Okay. I wonder if there was ties or something like that, or just to try to give people more points to push up into higher leagues. That could be as well. Bug fixes, they will return runic energy to free daily energy quests. So it used to be you had to spend a certain amount of runic energy in your dailies, and I really hope they don't do that, because I don't need anything out of the runic journey. I don't want those even in my inbox, because then I have to go and try to, because you can't just delete mail. If I could just delete them, I wouldn't care, but I have 7 or 8 different mail in there already that I have to make room for, and if I'm doing this on a daily basis, it's just going to congest the mailbox more and more. So either I hope they don't do it that way, but if they do, I hope they just give us a delete option where we can just delete the mail and move on. That would be great. Fixed an error that sometimes occurred when opening in daily quests. I didn't experience that, so that's interesting. And then other small fixes and improvements. And then we're going to get over to the new heroes. So before we get into the new heroes and we break down their kits and kind of talk about some early theory crafting with these characters, one of the things I'm commonly reading is we need game modes to use these characters. We're getting an influx of characters. I mean, in the last quarter, we received about 10 new characters. And, launch of 2 new races. And I gotta agree with my buddy Bones on this one. We gotta be patient. The game is a year old. Right? And I know everybody wants it now. And everybody wants inundated with stuff. And I've said this before, but if you look at like Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, and that's the game I came from, we didn't even have a raid till a year and a half into the game. And I know times have changed and expectations are higher. But if EA CG takes a year and a half to put raids into the game, then a year and a half mark would be a good place for guild versus guild. Year and a half would be a good place for a second raid. We're not at a year and a half yet. We just had our 1 year celebration. So we're getting close, yes. And I know something's coming. I have no inside information, but my heart of hearts tells me stuff's coming. If you read between the lines, stuff's got to be coming. And we got to probably have enough champions to do this. And I've been saying for a while, I think they're going to split the factions. I think Battlegrounds will eventually split. You're not going to be able to use characters on offense and defense, and that's going to make that mode way better. So, people will probably say that we need it now, and it's been a while, but I don't feel that sentiment at all. Yes, I'm right with you. Battlegrounds is getting kind of stale. I want a new raid, but I got to step back and temper my expectations for this game because it's not even a year and a half old. And it's coming from smaller developers. They do a lot to make it right by the people. And so, like I said, when I talked about my wish list, if nothing comes by the year and a half mark, even just this is what we're planning, it's going to be launched on this date, we can talk then. I think they're on pace. I think they're on pace with other games. So that's kind of what I gotta say about that, because I know somebody's going to ask me. People can tell me I'm wrong, and that's fine. Just strictly what I believe. So let's jump over and check out Naya and what's the other guy's name? Saboteur. And we can check them out. And we will start with Saboteur, the clan's orc healer. Alright, so here we are. Saboteur. Absolutely love this. This is one badass skin. I love it. Raven up top. I like the glasses. Kind of like a rocker hard orc homage there. Another green character, but really, really like it. And, you know, I like watching the animations. Oh, he's doing a little dance. Little shaman dance. That's sweet. So let's go ahead and summon this guy. And then we can check out his abilities. So, Saboteur here. Basic ability. From the Void deals 240 magic damage to an enemy. If the target received damage to its health, he inflicts buff immunity for 2 turns. Super interesting. Of course, we don't know any of his stats yet. We don't know what his potency is sitting like, but we're seeing magic damage and potency. I like this because it kind of makes you pay a little bit more attention. Because you could want to get like a Thalane out of there, but let's just say buff doesn't have shield, so it's going to attack his health. You can switch over, place that buff immunity, and go back. Kind of like that mechanic. Cooldown, or yeah, cooldown. A2 special herbs heals all allies by 540 of Saboteur's magical damage. Allies with full health and no debuff instead get shield equal to 270. Applies a potency increase to allied orcs for 2 turns. Now, I don't know if this is tier 7 and tier 6. That is solid. First healing mechanic that goes to shield. And then you can overshield, right? Or if they have full health, it's converted to X amount. But it cuts down the damage. But it's got that caveat of health, full health, and no debuffs. So when I'm reading this move, I'm kind of thinking like Hard Orc is going to be essential here. He's the only real dispeller on the Orc team. So let me think. Tromgar can dispel himself. You have Hard Orc with the T7 would be a huge difference. That's going to be super interesting to see. But the potency increase is great. For Tromgar, it's great for Zira. Great for Hard Orc. It is great for Zelenar. So that's a solid plus right there. Third ability, Beneath My Wing. Removes all debuffs from himself. Applies to himself and all allies and armor increase for 2 turns. Applies to himself and Hard Orc. There we go. Debuff immunity for 2 turns. Inflicts slow and daze for 2 turns to all enemies afflicted by a heal ability block and buff immunity. So we're seeing an armor increase, survivability, dispels himself. Okay. We're seeing Hard Orc synergy, which I just said before. Buff immunity, debuff immunity on Hard Orc would be sweet. Put ability block and buff immunity. Hard Orc applies ability block. He's applying buff immunity. I want to say Zira also applies one of the 2. Very, very cool. Very cool. And passive Malevolence. Saboteur gains 10% magic damage and 5 potency increase for each enemy afflicted. For each enemy afflicted at least by 1 debuff. That is a cool passive. They finally changed it up, and I like that. For once, it's not orcs in the party or elves in the enemy party. It's, you know what, if they got a debuff, he's getting more potency. That's going to be massive under a Zira lead. So first team I'm going to test is obviously Zira, Tromgar, Hard Orc, Saboteur. And then you have Mar. He doesn't really put out any debuffs though. Zelenar does. And then you have Mordoom. Mordoom's stacking the debuffs. But the problem here is you got to think is it's not the number of debuffs, it's each enemy afflicted by a debuff. So you got to kind of spread those around. So that could be super interesting. Super interesting. So Saboteur. Interesting, but that'll come in his noob series. So Saboteur, we're looking at magic damage and potency. I'm reading right off the bat. Synergizes well with debuff champions. Not necessarily orcs. You don't really see a lot in his kit that reads he'll play with just orcs. The only thing I saw is the synergy with hard orcs. So you're not really seeing that. So we got stuff to play with. So we're going to jump over to Naya, the human warrior, and we're going to check her out. So here we are with Naya. And that sword is sweet. Now in Lizard Breath's video, it looked like that sword would like come apart and then go back together. So that is pretty sweet. I like that. Very cool. Her eyes like match the sword. And it kind of looks like it comes apart. Yeah, sweet. So let's give her a summon. I'm gonna take a sip of tea. All right, I'm gonna butcher this name. So we are looking at Protuberance. Deals 275 magic damage to an enemy. If the target is inflicted by taunt, deals an additional 275 to a other random enemy and inflicts bleeding for 2 turns on both targets. So if you're attacking a tank, you're going to do damage to a random enemy. Don't really care for the random enemy thing. And inflicts bleeding for 2 turns to both targets. On a basic, you're going to get that counter chance with, if you have it under a Soleus lead. That's pretty solid. Bleed team could be very interesting. Very, very interesting. The bleed teams don't have dispellers, so if you get trapped behind a taunt, that would be interesting for the bleeds and the revol synergy. Not bad. Not bad. Second ability, Fury of the Desert Sun. So 265 physical damage to all enemies. Randomly rearranges all effects of taunt and invisibility on enemies who receive damage. Ignores tenacity. If position of debuffs hasn't changed, Naya restores 30% turn meter. Now that is one cool move, and I really want to play with that. That's massive, because that's crazy. I gotta really see how that plays. I mean, we're seeing physical damage, and then she randomly rearranges all effects of taunt and invisibility. So you get somebody. This could neuter Pride teams with Wukong and Salvador. That could neuter Pride teams. Wow. Very heavy cooldown. Very heavy cooldown. Interesting. That is a really cool new move. I like that. Sword Dance gains crit damage increase, a tenacity increase, a damage increase, and a dodge increase for 2 turns. If Selena is in the party, she gains the same effects. If Naya is at full health, she restores 50% turn meter. Crit damage increase, tenacity increase, damage increase, and a dodge increase. I wonder if she's going to have small health shield combinations. If Selena is in the party, she gains the same effects, so you're seeing some synergy with Selena. I don't think that's going to make much of a difference. And if she's at full health, she restores 50% turn meter. Okay, I'm down for that. Passive ability, Burning Sun. Enemy with the biggest maximum health who receive damage receive an additional damage equal to 6% of his health. This damage ignores armor. Enemies afflicted by taunt cannot dodge Naya's attack and counterattack her. If Selena is in the party, she gains the same advantages. Phew. So she is building up to be a tank buster. I mean, obvious. But maximum health, if they have the biggest maximum health, that's obviously going to be your tank. Unless you're running a tankless team. This damage ignores armor, so you're cutting right. Armor's not going to make a difference. This damage, or enemies inflicted by taunt can't dodge. So Titania, huge against Titania. And they can't counterattack her. That's insane. If Selena's in the party, she gains the same advantages. That is super, super interesting. That is a very interesting kit. So, very, very interesting. Very interesting. She's going to be a fun one to play around with, but I also think... Look at that physical armor. Ooh. I think her crit chance will probably be low, and she'll be a slower character, probably like Eric Shieldbreaker speed, probably 140s, I'm thinking. 135, 140. Just a guess. Yeah. So is Saboteur. So we got some cool new characters to play around with here, and pretty excited to get them up and running. The Orcs desperately needed a good healer, so that's solid. That tank buster, it looks like Naya looks like she could have a lot of plug and play viability. So let me know down below what you think of these two new characters. It was fun to kind of break them down together. With that being said, if you're just finding me for the first time, you're liking what you're seeing, click that subscribe button, turn on notifications, all the good stuff that goes along with it. For my XMG family members, I will see you in the next one, and you know I love you. I'm out.